Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the second video in a propagation series I'm doing for the summer of 2019. I am moving and I'm rescuing some plants that are in this yard that I want to use at the new place, or rescuing some plants that are kind of one of a kind, or there's only a few of them around. An example of this is this holly right here that I had found years ago, and I have sold it for years. It grows like a Foster eye holly. The leaf is a little bit broader than a Foster holly though. It grows in a pyramidal shape, 15, 20 feet tall, something like that. I had one next to my office at my nursery that I had in the past. And we actually called it the office holly because it was next to the office. And so that's what I've sold it as when I was selling at the garden center and at my other retail locations over the years. The ones I sold, which I wouldn't be able to find because I don't know where the people, who they were that bought them from me. Other than that, this one is the only one that I know of. And so I've got to take some cuttings. I need to take some cuttings off of it before I end up, somehow accidentally killing this one, which can happen, of course. So I'm going to take some cuttings off of this. I've got some Abelia back here that I'm using as a low screen that I planted last year. I want to get some cuttings off of those, some Edward Goucher Abelia. And I've got some Ligustrum recurvifolium here on this back line. It's just going to be 50 plants. I just did one tray, just like I always do, with the 50% peat moss, 50% perlite mix. I'm using the Clonex gel as my rooting hormone. This is good for softwood and semi-softwood cuttings. The amount of IBA in it, or the percentage of IBA in it, is a little bit weak. If I was doing wood that was a little bit more mature than this, I'd probably go back to my liquid, which I can mix and create a little stronger mix. But these cuttings are softwood or semi-softwood cuttings, so the Clonex should be fine. So I'm going to grab 10 or 15, 20 cuttings off of this and do the same thing on the other two. I'll show you those back there. So here's this holly. Right here would be a great example of a perfect cutting. See where it starts to turn to this older coloration on this stem here? I don't want to take that. I want to take the part that's still green, but it's not super new growth like out here at the tip. So somewhere right in there, about 5 leaves back, is where I'm going to do these cuttings off of this holly. Here are these Edward Goucher Abelia, and you can see they're in flower. They flower pretty much all summer. Pollinators love them. But these grow with these long stems like this, and really none of this is hardened off all the way back to here. I can get probably 2 to 3 cuttings out of each of these long stems right here. So that's what I'll do. I'll cut some of these stems. They need to be pruned anyway, but I'll cut this way back here and we can get 2 or 3 pieces out of that. So here's last year's propagation house with the mist system inside of it that we used last summer, and that's about to move to the new house. Behind it is a big row of Ligustrum recurvifolium. There's actually some other things blended into the screen as well, but I need to take cuttings off this Ligustrum. Ligustrum's super easy to root. Pretty much anything out here that's 5, 6 leaves back, that's what I'll take off of it, is a cutting about like that, where I have my fingers pinching it. What's that, about 6, 7 leaves right there? That's where I'll cut it back. We'll strip about the bottom 4 leaves off. That'll be a perfect cutting. Ligustrum roots, like I say, roots readily. So the new place I'm moving definitely needs screening plants, and that is the purpose of the 3 things I'm rooting here. There's one of these Ligustrum recurvifolium cuttings I took off, and I'll just strip the bottom 2 leaves, maybe even go down to that. If I wanted to, I could just go down to just 2 leaves. That would be totally fine. If you want to, you can cut this where one of these leaf buds are right there. It may root more readily right at that leaf bud. If you've got that much of a stem, there's no reason not to. And I'll dip it in this Clonex gel. You can see how that sticks to it on the bottom there. Again, I'm going to go down about halfway. See the depth of this right here is these are about 2 inches deep. I only go about 1 inch down and pinch them in just like that. They stay too wet if you go any deeper than that. So we'll do a few more of these Ligustrum here. I'm going to strip off of this one, strip off pretty much everything down below there. I'm going to go down to 3 leaves on all of them. And I can come up in here and find a bud union right there, or a spot where a leaf bud was right there, or even come up a little further if I want to. That one's probably a little shorter than I want it actually, and I've got plenty, so I'm gonna go back and strip the leaves off of that one. This is where the flowers and the seeds were. We would definitely want to take those out. We definitely don't want it using energy for that, and I'll leave it about that long. So I'm leaving two leaf buds below that second leaf down right there, dipping it in the Clonex gel, going down about an inch, pinching it in just like that. Really kind of quick and easy. I'll go fast on this one. Take the 4 leaves off there, take these seeds off right there. It's already cut about where I want it, about an inch down, just like that. Okay, on that other holly I had, there's really nothing different on it. I'm going to leave probably 3 leaves on the top of it, pretty much the same. This is that office holly. Again, on this, you know, if you want to cut it to where a leaf bud is there, that's fine. It may root a little quicker from that spot, if that spot's where the rooting hormone ends up. I'm going to come back about 3 rows. I'm going to end up doing 3 rows of those Ligustrum. Come back about 3 rows and stick that in there. Same thing with this one. I'm just stripping these leaves off, leaving 3 leaves. Cutting the bottom again just like that and sticking it in there, pinching it in exactly the same way. These Abelia are a little different. This is all new growth out there. The Abelia grow all summer long. These other plants have put on their growth for the season pretty much. They're pretty much done growing. They get to a spot where they flower and they're kind of done. This Abelia, just like I say, it just keeps on growing. So I don't want any of this growth that's happened in the last few weeks. Okay, I'm going to take that completely off. And I'm going to come back, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 back here. And I'm going to strip. So now I have, the leaves are opposite on these Abelia. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets, okay? I'm stripping the bottom 3 sets off, just like that, okay? Putting a fresh cut on it. And again, I'm just doing 3 rows of these. I'll slide this back a little bit so you can see it, but right there, about halfway down, and pinch it in. Super, super easy. I'll do the same thing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut it right behind that, okay? Strip these bottom 6 leaves off. I'll put a fresh cut on it there. Dip it in the gel, about halfway down, pinch it in. I'm gonna fill this tray out with these 3. So there's the flat I've done this morning with the Abelia and the office holly and the recurve Ligustrum. Those will be screening plants at the new place. These are the 2 flats from last week, and they're still looking pretty good here. I don't think we'll see a lot of callousing yet. It's been 7 days since these were stuck. I think next week we'll definitely see callousing. We probably won't see roots quite yet, but yeah, I think within the next 6 or 7 days, we'll see the callousing on the bottom of them where the roots are going to form. Everything looks good. The one thing you want to keep an eye on under here is any leaves that are dropping off. I can see I'm going to lose a few leaves on these crepe myrtles. If you lose any leaves at all, you want to make sure you go in there and let me pull this flat a little closer. There's a leaf right there. Okay, get rid of those. They'll keep the soil too wet in the space where they fall on. So keep them cleaned up. And I'm spraying water under here about once every other day. Not much on the soil, more on the plastic walls of this little house. So using these 50 cell trays like I'm using, I've got 150 cuttings in here now. I've got room for 1 more tray. So I'm gonna end up getting 200 cuttings under this little upside down wooden table. Again, I'll just pull the plastic back down here, and I used this shovel this week to hold it in place. I think it would be very, very tempting if you were doing this to go get a staple gun and start stapling this plastic down real tight around it and make it just an absolutely perfect rectangular box. Don't do that. This works great because it breathes a little bit. I'm trying not to monitor it. I'm trying not to look in there constantly. And the fact that a little air can escape and a little humidity can escape from here is very, very good. My first propagation video I ever did on this channel, on my big propagation house I had at the nursery. I had you know, exhaust fans. I had fans hanging in the top of that thing. We would open the front door mid-morning every day. You have to get air movement on these things. You got to keep them moist, and so there's a delicate balance there. You don't want to have so much air movement and humidity loss that you're not keeping them moist. But you can't seal something up super tight. You will get, there's every problem that you could get in cuttings, you'll get that way if you seal something up super tight. So keep that in mind. And I think that's it. Next Tuesday or some day next week, I'll do an update and we'll add another flat to this one.